Okay. Take a moment and notice your breathing. Notice the areas in the body where you might be holding some stress or tension. Observe your breath, notice the rhythm of it, but don't try to fix it or change it. Set an intention for this practice, how you want to feel when the class is done. On your next exhale, begin to lower your chin to your chest. On your inhale, allow yourself to lift your head up to level, maybe lift it above level. And on the exhale, lower the chin down. So we're going to flex and extend the neck. Stay focused in the neck at first. And then when we lift our chin this next time, we might start to draw the shoulders back slightly. And on the exhale, lower the chin, round the shoulders forward a bit. Let's continue with this, moving further and further down into the spine in a way that feels right for us. Inhale and exhale. As you move, make sure you're not pushing through any pain or discomfort. Instead, allow yourself to be a bit more gentle and mindful when you move. There'll be a chance to stretch more deeply as we go on, so let's keep this really gentle. Now, when we draw our shoulders back this time, let's take our hands slightly further behind us. Notice what that feels like. You're just letting the fingertips rest. You can bring the hands in closer to the center of the back if you like. And notice the breathing. You're opening up lots of space through the throat and the collarbones and the chest. And then we're going to bring the hands back toward the knees. Round your mid-back out. Ease your hands in close to your hips, lean forward, lengthen the spine. Take a moment, and I've got my hands in close to my hips, so I'm going to limit this forward fold, but focus on keeping the back long and straight. And breathe. And then we're going to go ahead and come back up. Draw your shoulders back, place your fingertips behind you once again so that the muscles along the spine are in a shortened position. And then we'll just let that left hand come over to the right knee. Sit up nice and tall, open up space in the torso as we turn. Let your neck and shoulders relax. You can slide the hand a bit closer in towards your hip. And breathe. And then we're going to come back to center, bring your left hand behind you, right hand can come to your left knee, and let's come into that twist in the opposite direction. And you can slide the hand closer to the hip if you choose, but again, we want this twist to be nice and comfortable. And breathe. Now from here, let's put that right hand down next to us. Take your left arm up. Reach through the side body, open up lots of space in the rib cage and the waist. Bring your hand over to your temple. Let's come into a nice, gentle lateral flexion of the spine. And breathe. We're going to come back up. Left hand can come down beside us. Lift your right arm up. Again, bring your hand over towards your temple and allow yourself to lean over to one side. And breathe. So this is just our first lateral flexion. We'll have a chance to stretch a bit deeper as we go on. Now, bring that right hand down. We're going to come to a child's pose. Start out with knees about hip distance apart. Let's stack your hands. Place your hands underneath your forehead. Child's pose is going to add compression to your knees and your hips, as well as your abdomen. And breathe. Now we're going to take our arms out in front of us, palms on the mat, fingers spread wide. We're going to shift our body forward, tuck our toes, and then we're going to come up off the mat and alternate our heels down toward the mat. So take your time, just a few times through this, just to warm up. Now press the heels toward the floor. Let your knees come back down onto the mat, tops of the toes come down. Ease your hips back towards your heels. Let your hands come back by your ankles. Palms up. Now, once again, we're going to extend those arms out in front with both palms on the mat, fingers spread wide, hands about shoulder distance apart. Bring your hips up and then tuck your toes. And let's go ahead and place the soles of the feet down on the mat. And breathe. Now, you might walk your feet in a little bit closer and then walk your hands back towards your feet. Palms can rest on the mat. Maybe bend your elbows or release a little closer to the floor. And then we're going to bend the knees and inhale all the way up. Lift your arms up overhead and let your palms come together at heart center. So I'm going to turn towards you. So standing mountain pose, allow yourself to notice how this feels. Again, this is just a basic posture to connect with your feet. So wiggle your toes, rock back towards your heels, and maybe feel the edges of your feet. Lift up through the crown of the head, draw your shoulders back and down, and breathe. Let's shift from the right foot to the left foot. So ease yourself to one side and then the other, and breathe. Now let's go ahead and shift into that right foot and maybe cross your left foot over. Now, this is going to give you a chance to come into a bit of a balance challenge here. You might decide to bend your knees, drop into your hips a bit, extend your arms out to shoulder height. And then let's bring that right arm over the left. Give yourself a big hug here. You can stay with this, or you might decide to intertwine your arms, lift your elbows up and stay upright, or possibly hinge forward to a flat back and breathe. Sorry, my balance is not great today. Take your time. And then we're going to inhale, come back up. And on the exhale, unwind your arms and uncross your legs. Again, I'm on a couple cushy levels here, and that's not great for balance. So if your balance is not that great, you might move to a hard surface. Shift to your left foot, bring your right foot across, a little or a lot. You can bend your knees, drop into your hips a bit, extend arms out to shoulder height. Bring your left arm over your right, give yourself a big hug, intertwine the arms possibly. Lift your elbows up, stay upright. Maybe we hinge forward to a flat back and breathe. Now inhale, let's come back up. And on the exhale, unwind your arms. Uncross your legs, back to center. So even if your balance isn't good, it's good to practice balancing poses. That actually works on the vagus nerve in the brain. Now we're going to go ahead and step up to the top of our mat, hands on our hips, and then take a nice step back with your right foot. We want to take a stance that gives us a little bit of a challenge, but we still want to feel stable. Right foot angles out, left knee bends. Let your arms relax down beside you. And then we decide if we want to lift the arms up overhead, palms facing each other. Warrior one. Allow yourself to notice how this feels. Interlace your fingers if you like. Let's begin to bring our arms back behind us. Keep our gaze forward. So this is going to open the shoulders. We're going to have more stability by keeping our gaze forward. If you want to challenge your balance, look up toward the ceiling and breathe. You can reach through those arms to deepen the stretch through the torso. And then we'll go ahead and lower our arms down. Separate the hands. Bring the hands behind your back. Interlace your fingers. Now let's hinge forward to a flat back. Bring your left shoulder to the inside of your left knee. Lift your arms up, humble warrior. And breathe. Now, let's place your hands on your hips, lift your head up, lift your right heel, step forward. And then let's step back with the left foot. Angle the foot out. Make sure that you feel like your hips can comfortably face forward now. Bend your right knee. Let's lift your arms up overhead. Palms facing one another. Breathe. Consider interlacing the fingers. Bring your arms back behind your back. Keep your gaze forward or look up toward the ceiling if you choose, which will challenge your balance a bit more. And breathe. And then we're going to lower those arms down. Separate your hands. We're going to bring them behind the back. Interlace your fingers. Let's hinge forward to a flat back. Humble warrior. Lift the arms up overhead if you like. And then we're going to go ahead and release our hands to our hips. Lift your head up, lift the back heel, and step forward. Now let's take a wide-legged stance here. Take your feet wider than your hips, and we do want the feet to be facing in the same direction toward the side of the mat. Let your hands be on your hips. Nice stretch for your inner thighs and the back of the legs. Let's lift the toes of our right foot up. Turn your right foot to the end of the mat. Bend your right knee, drop down equally between both legs. Extend arms out at shoulder height, palms down. Look down the center of your right arm. Look off into the distance. Warrior two. Allow yourself to notice the direction you're gazing, and we're not looking at whatever's there. We're looking at our goal. Put your goal out in front of you. And breathe. Turn your right palm up. Lift your right hand toward the ceiling. Lightly touch the back leg if you like. Exalted warrior. And breathe. Now inhale, let's come back to our warrior two. Place your right hand or your left hand on your left hip, straighten your right leg, reach out over that right leg, connect with your shin. Now the back of the hand can rest there or the fingertips, whichever feels better to you. Draw your left shoulder back. Stack your left arm over your right, triangle pose. So this hand that's on my shin, I'm only using it to stabilize myself. I'm not actually supporting myself with that hand. Lift up through that extended arm. And then let's go ahead and rebend that knee back to warrior two. Hands to your hips. Let's turn both feet forward. And now we'll turn that left foot to the end of the mat. Bend the left knee. Allow yourself to notice how that feels. Extend arms out at shoulder height, palms down. Look down the center of the left arm. Again, look past the end of your fingertips and put your goal out in front of you. And breathe. Turn that palm up. Lift your hand toward the ceiling. Lightly touch the back leg. Exalted warrior, nice lateral flexion of your spine. And breathe. And then we're going to come back to our warrior two. This time, place your right hand on your right hip. Straighten that left leg, extend out. Bring your hand down to your shin. Draw your right shoulder back. Consider lifting that right arm up, stacking over the left. And this is triangle pose. We want our arms and our torso, our legs and our hips all in the same plane. And breathe. Once again, we're going to rebend that left knee back to warrior two. Place both hands on your hips. Let's turn both feet forward and hinge forward to a flat back. So when we hinge forward here, we're stretching the back of our legs, our inner thighs. It's a good stretch right here, but maybe you decide to put your fingertips down in front of you. You can rock forward towards your toes and back towards your heels. You might even put those palms down on the mat. And breathe, still keeping that flat back though. And breathe. Maybe we bend our elbows a bit, lower a little bit closer to the floor. Now let's press into our hands, lift our head up. Place your hands on your hips, all the way back up. We're going to heel toe our feet together. Let's come down onto the floor from here. So let's come into a comfortable seated position with our feet together and let our knees drop open. Kind of carrying with the theme of what we just did where we opened our hips quite a bit. Make sure that your feet are positioned wherever it feels like a comfortable stretch to you. We're focusing on the inner thighs and the hip joints. So if you feel like it's straining, you can always move the feet out. You can even separate them somewhat. You might decide to bring them in closer and rock a little bit and loosen up your hips. When we come into this, it's a passive pose. We're focusing on the hip joints, the stress in the hip joints. You might wrap your hands around your ankles and sit a bit taller. So this is going to open up some space in our body. It might feel like it relieves a little bit of the tension in the hip joints. And breathe. Another option would be to place your thumbs right at the base of the toes and then open your feet out a little bit more. It's a very slight change, but it does transfer to the hip area. So notice how that feels. You can lean forward, walk your hands out if you like. Get to a place where your body tells you that's enough, or you're getting close to enough. Allow yourself to notice when you start to feel resistance in your body. We're not going to try to push through the resistance. We're going to identify it. We're going to acknowledge it. We're going to decide, do we need a deeper stretch than this? Walk your hands back in. Let's extend our legs out into a comfortable wide-legged position. So notice how this feels. When you extend your legs out, we're focusing on the inner thighs and the back of the legs. Let your feet be slightly flexed. We don't have to do a whole lot more than this. This is a good stretch as it is. Again, you can use this and make it more though. You can draw your toes towards you and point your toes. So this is going to stretch both the tops and the bottom of the legs. You're going to feel the calves all the way through. Obviously, your quads, you're going to feel them stretching, your hamstrings. And breathe. Maybe you circle your ankles a few times. Maybe back in the other direction. Now, we might just flex those feet and lean forward from our hip joints. Put your hands down here to stabilize you. You can walk the hands out or even slide them down your shins. Excuse me, shins to your ankles. Take a minute, notice how this feels. You can bend your elbows a bit. It's a pretty significant stretch here, but you get to control the intensity of it too. So consider that. How deep a stretch do you need here? And breathe. And so particularly notice your low back. You want to make sure, again, you're not getting compression in those vertebrae. And then walk your hands back in. Again, it's the process, not the destination. So when we're trying to get into a nice deep stretch, if our body's resisting, then that might mean that our body wants us not to go so deeply. So let's go ahead and extend our legs out in front of us, seated staff pose. Allow yourself to scoot forward so you feel like you're sitting at the top of the thighs rather than back towards your tailbone. Let your hands rest on your legs. Draw your toes towards you if you like. Think about pulling the energy up off the floor. Lift through the crown of the head. Let your shoulders relax. And breathe. Just notice, inhaling and exhaling. Seated staff pose is already by itself, just like this, a very, very good core strengthening pose. The main thing is you don't want to hold your breath. You want your muscles engaged. You want to comfortably breathe. And you don't have to stay here for very long. When it gets fatiguing, let yourself relax a little bit. Now we're going to use the same pose and we're going to do some twists. So bend your right knee, bring it in close to you, as close as feels comfortable. It's going to add a little compression to your abdomen too. You can let the right leg cross over the left if you like. Left leg can stay straight, or you might want to bend the knee and bring it into your hip. It's your choice, but keep that left hand on top of the right knee. Again, we want to sit as tall as we can because we're going to twist and we don't want compression between our vertebrae. So we're sitting up tall. We look at our right shoulder. Put your right hand behind you if you like. Left hand can hang out on your knee. Maybe you pull the knee in toward the center, which is going to add a lot more compression to your abdomen. And breathe. Now inhale, we're going to come back to center. Bring your right hand to your right ankle and twist in the opposite direction. And breathe, just notice. And then let's come back to center, re-extend the right leg, or left leg. Bring your right leg on the inside. Place your foot anywhere along the inside of this extended leg. It could be all the way down by your ankle or all the way to the top of your thigh. And then we're going to center over that extended leg, sit tall. We're going to hinge forward from our hip flexors. Slide your hands down to your ankle. You might put one hand on either side of the foot. So this extended leg is getting a nice stretch. You're going to get some stretch in this hip, your low back. So we want to pay attention to everything, and we don't want to compromise one area of the body to get a deeper stretch somewhere else. So let's check in with everything that you're feeling. Allow yourself to relax and breathe. I'm going to walk the hands back in again. Bring that right knee in. Let's extend that leg out. Now bring the other knee in toward the chest. Let it cross over if you want. Keep that leg extended, or bend the knee and bring it to your hip. They're both good choices. Pick the one you like best. Put your right hand on top of the left knee. Sit nice and tall. Look at your left shoulder. Place your hand behind you if you like. So we want to keep that space open as you turn toward that shoulder. This hand, again, can just rest here. It can pull the knee in, which is going to stretch your IT band. You could wrap the elbow around the knee, which is going to add a lot of compression to the torso. Also a little bit more uncomfortable to breathe. So make that choice. Or let the elbow rest on the knee and press into the knee. That's going to deepen the twist a little bit more on your torso. And breathe. And then we're going to inhale, come back to center, and let's twist in the opposite direction. Unwind the twist. And breathe. Counter poses are always important. Now, let's re-extend that right leg. Bring your left leg and place it anywhere on the inside of this right leg that feels good, the sole of the foot, I should say. Once you get settled there, let's sit up tall again. Hinge from our hip flexors. We're leaning over the leg. We can slide our hands down toward the ankle, maybe on either side of the foot. And breathe. Walk our hands back in. Now we're going to go ahead and keep that left leg forward, right leg back. Come into a Z-sit here. Let's put one hand on either side of this knee, the left knee, and bend your elbows and start to lower down to the leg. So notice you're engaging your triceps here, your biceps a little bit, your shoulders. Try to keep your shoulders relaxed. Lower down over that leg. Compression in your abdomen, your thigh, and your hip. Inhale, lift up to the crown of the head. We're going to do that 2 more times. Somatic movement. So if some of these poses that we do that you like, where we do a set of 3, remember you can do more if you want to. It's just 3 is a good minimum. Exhale, bend your elbows and lower down. And then inhale, lift up. Now, this is a nice twist by itself, but if you want more, bring your hands to the outside of the knee. Walk your hands all the way back toward the hip if you like. So this is a twist of rib cage, waist, and hips. Fold over this leg, come down onto your forearms if you like. Deep twist, deep compression, calming forward fold. And then when you feel ready, let's press into those hands. Walk our hands back in. Place that left hand behind your hip. Maybe lift your hips up, stretch your hip flexors, reach that right arm up and over. Mermaid pose. We're going to lower our hips back down. Now, let's extend our right leg out away from us. Keep the left leg centered. And we're just going to place our hands in front of that left ankle. Fingertips maybe, lean forward. Could walk your hands out in front of you. Take your time and notice how this feels. When you get to a point of resistance, give yourself a chance to relax. And maybe bend your elbows. Now notice where you're feeling a stretch. It could be in your back. It could be your inner thigh on that right leg. Maybe it's some compression in the knee or even your shoulder. So it's always important to just do a scan. And you can stay here or walk your hands over to that extended leg. If you do, let's place our hands on our thigh or slide them all the way down to the ankle. And breathe. then walk your hands back in. You might take this extended leg and bring it in front, easy seated. Foot on knee, knee on foot for a square pose, or opt for shoelace pose, knee on top of knee. Arms out. Left arm over the right, give yourself a big hug. Lift your elbows up nice and high so that you can stretch across the upper back, shorten the muscles in the chest. Notice how this feels. We can stay with this or drop our chin, round forward or fold forward. As we do that, it's going to deepen the stretch in shoulders and hips. It's going to add some compression to the abdomen. Forward folds are calming. Now inhale, let's come back up. And on the exhale, let's unwind the arms. Extend them all the way out. Press your palms away. Open the space across your chest and upper back. Let's bring your hands down beside you. Sit tall so that there's a little space between the palms and the mat, and then just let the hands come down comfortably. And if you want, turn your fingers toward the back of the mat, which is going to open across your chest a little bit more. Your palms can be resting there, or maybe your fingertips. Heart opening like this is a great stretch across your chest. You might decide to lower the chin. Now that's going to stretch the back of the neck. Just take a minute and see how that feels. Now turn your head towards your left shoulder. Look out over that left shoulder. Lift your chin gently up from the shoulder. Bring it to center. Turn your head in the opposite direction. Lower the chin down and back to center. So if you like, you can make 2 more circles. Again, keep this type of movement in mind, somatic movement. When you have physical discomfort, whether it's your shoulders, your neck, your knee joint, your hips, we want to move through our range of motion. We want to keep that mobility there, but we also don't want to push through pain. So moving a bit slower is going to be a wise choice. We can identify before we hit those major discomfort points. Now when your head comes back to center, let's pause. Lift your head up, release. We're going to go ahead and do it again on the other side. This time, right leg comes forward, left leg comes back, one hand on either side of the knee. And allow yourself to bend your elbows, lower down. Take your time and notice how this feels. Inhale, elbows close to your sides as you inhale and lift up. So you come up into a mild twisted back bend. Exhale, bending your elbows, lowering down. And inhale, lifting up. One final time. Exhale, bend your elbows, lower down, and inhale. When we come up this time, we decide if we want to take a deeper twist. Both hands to the outside of the knee. Take the hands all the way back toward the hip if you like. Fold over your leg, come down onto your forearms. So deer pose, deep twist, deep compression. And breathe. Walk your hands back in. Maybe that right hand comes behind the hip. Leave the hips down if you like, or lift them up, stretch them. Reach that left arm up and over, and then we're going to lower it back down again. Now, let's extend the left leg out. Keep the right leg centered. Lean forward. Walk our hands out until we meet some resistance. Again, it might be a first point of resistance, and then after the body relaxes, you can go a bit further forward. We just don't want to push into a place of pain. Maybe walk our hands over to our extended leg, place the hands on the thigh, or slide the hands toward the ankle. And relax and breathe. Notice this opposite hip too. Walk the hands back in. Bring that right leg in front. Foot on knee, knee on foot, or go for shoelace. Again, they're all just different choices of how to position your legs. You can even do your own hybrid. Take your arms out to shoulder height. Bring your left arm over your right arm over your left, Take a minute and notice how this feels. Upper back muscles are stretching. Muscles in the chest are shortening and relaxing. You can stay upright or come forward if you choose. And just notice and breathe. Now inhale, we're going to come back up. And on the exhale, let's unwind the arms. Extend them all the way out. Press your palms away from each other. Let your hands come down beside you. Sit nice and tall. Shoulders relax. Turn your fingers toward the back of the mat if that feels helpful to stretch across the chest and shorten those muscles in the upper back a bit more. Let's lower our chin toward our chest. Turn your chin towards your right shoulder. Lift your head up from there. Bring your head to center. Turn to the left. Lower your chin down and back to center. So maybe a couple more circles like this. Again, let the circles be as small as you need to make them or as expansive as feels good to you. One more time and breathe. Now when your chin comes back to center, let's pause. Lift your head up. Now from here, we're going to go ahead and let's come to a tabletop position. Let's stretch our legs a little bit more. So we're going to place our palms on the mat with our hands directly underneath our shoulders, knees underneath our hips. Engage the back muscles. So tabletop, again, remembering this is just a basic pose to come into to create some spinal alignment and build some core strength. And then we're going to take our right leg back behind us. Tuck your toes, level your hips out. Notice how that feels. You can press through the heel a bit more if you want. Bring your right leg cross over the left. Now notice how that feels in your right hip. Maybe we're keeping our gaze centered. If you want to look over your left shoulder at your right foot, you're going to come into more of a lateral flexion of your spine. And breathe. Now bring that right leg back to center. Step the right leg forward and through. Place your hands on the inside of that right foot, and then let's ease our hips back and forward. So we're moving our ankles, knees, hips, hamstrings, and quadriceps nice and gently. And breathe. Now, as we come forward this time with that left hip flexor extended, take a minute and notice how this feels. And breathe. And then we're going to go ahead and come back. Walk our hands back in. Bring your right knee back to meet your left. We're back to tabletop. We're going to extend the left leg back. Tuck your toes, level your hips, keep your gaze on the mat. Now we might slide that left leg across, tuck the toes, look over your right shoulder at your left foot, press your left hip out if you like, and breathe. And then we're going to bring the left leg back to center, step the left leg forward and through, place it on the mat, hands on the inside of that foot, and let's ease our hips back and forth again. So take your time with this. A lot of moving parts, ankles, knees, hips, hamstrings, and quadriceps. And breathe. Now this time when we come forward, we might drop our right hip flexor down a little bit more, maybe place both palms down on the mat. And then we're going to walk our hands back in. Take our knees nice and wide this time. Let's come into a child's pose with knees wide. Stack your hands under your forehead. Let your head rest on your hands. It's going to ease tension across your low back. It's going to stretch your inner thighs. It's less compressive in the abdomen. From here, let's walk our hands back in toward our body. We're going to come into our supine positions. Place your feet on the mat. Ease your hips towards your heels. Slowly lower down to constructive rest pose. Again, we can position our feet as close into our body as we want or take them further away. Widen your stance or narrow it. Once you get your feet situated, press into your feet. Lift your hips an inch or so off the mat. Tuck the tailbone up. Let your sacrum come down comfortably. Check the arch of the back. Make sure it's as relaxed as you can. You can even lift your head and shoulders up a little bit. And then lower down so that the back of the head is centered on the floor. Your neck is elongated and fairly relaxed. Place your hands on your rib cage or take your hands away from the body. And this is it, constructive rest pose. Basically, it's an opportunity to get your body into a comfortable position. And then don't put any expectations on yourself right now. Give yourself a chance to kind of assess how your body feels in this position. You can make adjustments if you need to, but we don't have to move quite yet. Now you might start by just letting your knees move about an inch or so in each direction. And notice when you do that, you're getting a gentle rocking effect across your sacrum. So notice how that feels. It's not too intense, like very minimal expectations on the body, and breathe. Now we can start to let the knees drop closer and closer to the floor, but it all depends on how this feels to us as we start to move. We're not trying to get anywhere in particular. We just want to let go of as much tension in the body as we can. And breathe and notice. Now, once we complete this on both sides this last time, let's come back to center and then turn your toes in toward the center of the mat and let your knees rest against each other. This is a passive internal rotation of your thighs. You're going to feel this in your hip joints. You're also going to feel this across your low back. Maybe you'll feel it in your ankles a little bit too, but those are going to be the two primary places that you're going to feel some stress. Across the sacrum and in the hip joints. The good thing to remember is stress is not always a bad thing. This type of stress is going to let the connective tissue lengthen. It's going to let go of some of the tension it's holding on to. Releasing the tension in the connective tissue is a slow process. It can't be forced. Now walk your feet in close to each other. Ankles and knees touch. You might lift your feet up off the floor. Maybe you put your hands on your knees, rock a little bit across the low back. Keeping the knees away from your torso is going to minimize the compression to the abdomen. Now, if you want more compression, you can certainly bring the knees in closer if you choose. And breathe. More compression means more encouragement to the digestive system, but it might feel uncomfortable, so you can always move the knees away. And then let's pause here. Widen the knees. So as we take the knees wide, we take the pressure off the abdomen. You can let your hands rest on your ankles if you like. This is going to give you a nice inner thigh stretch. It's pretty low expectation at first. Just a gentle stretch for the inner thighs. Now, if you want more, interlace your fingers. Wrap your hands around the feet. Press your knees open. Supine butterfly. Take a minute and press your knees. Or you might bounce the knees a little bit. So flex and extend a little bit. Now we might reach for the edges of the feet, lift the soles of the feet up toward the ceiling. We're coming to happy baby here. So we can have the hands resting on the edges of the feet, or if you prefer something a little milder, just have your hands on the outside of the calf underneath the knee maybe. And that's going to support your legs but not add additional compression into the hips. You can rock from knee to knee if you like. And breathe. So take your time, notice what you're feeling. Now maybe you loop your fingers around your big toes. Index and middle fingers, preferably begin to straighten both legs out away from you, supine wide-legged pose. With your feet flexed, press through the soles of the feet and see where your legs go with this. Inner thigh stretch, back of the leg stretch. You might feel this in your shoulders. Now we're going to bring those legs back up overhead. Draw the legs toward each other. You can keep your hands on the big toes or maybe slide them down behind your calf or your knees, or just let the hands drop to the floor. Now, legs up the wall is a great inversion. And this one is the one that I can always recommend to people because it's going to be safe for pretty much everyone. It's going to strengthen your heart and digestive system. It's going to improve the circulation in your legs. You can use a wall to make it supportive. You can hang out in the middle of the room and just let your legs extend up in the air. Or you might decide you want to point and flex your feet and stretch your legs out too. So again, thinking about this as one of those things you could do on a regular basis, a daily basis, and always consider using the wall as a support so it's not as intense right off the bat, especially if you're just starting doing this. It might need a little bit of support just so it's less effort. Now, let's go ahead and bend the right knee, put your right foot down, and let your left knee cross over on your right knee. Creates an internal rotation of your thighs. So check in with your hips when you do this. Primarily your left hip is going to feel this with the left knee on top. So notice if this feels to be too much. You might decide you just want to uncross your knees at this point. But if it feels okay and you want a little bit more stretch, let's bring those knees in toward the chest. Let your hands rest on your left knee, or wrap it around to that right knee. That's going to add a little bit more compression to your abdomen. Might feel more intense. And again, they're both good choices. You could even extend that right leg all the way back up toward the ceiling, interlace behind that knee. So if that feels really good to extend your legs up like that, think about modifying things in a way that suits you. Place your right foot down and let's let those knees drop over to the right. Extend your left arm out. We're in a supine spinal twist from the base of our skull to our tailbone. This is going to be a deep stretch in your hip, your rib cage, your shoulder, and breathe. If you find that it's too much, you can just uncross the knees. Now, we're going to let the knees come back to center, and on the exhale, uncross the knees. Now from here, let's go ahead and bring the right knee over on top of the left knee. Another internal rotation of the thighs. And we want to check and make sure our hip already feels fairly comfortable here. You could stay here, or you might bring those knees in toward the chest. Wrap your hands around that right knee or around the left knee. The left knee one on this side is going to give you a lot more compression in your abdomen. Could extend the left leg up toward the ceiling, interlace behind that knee, or possibly reach for that left big toe with your right hand. And breathe. Now rebend that left knee. Set the left foot down. Let's bring those knees over to the left side of the body. As we bring the knees over, you can rest here, extend that right arm out to add to the twist. Relax and breathe. And now from here, we're going to come back to center. We're going to uncross the knees. We might let the ankles and knees touch. Let the soles of the feet come together. Let your knees drop open here. So this is a passive external rotation of your thighs. It's going to land deeply in the hip joints. We did this in seated earlier. You don't get the same amount of stress in the hip joints in that version as you do in this one because gravity is pulling your knees toward the floor. The goal here would be to relax your muscles as much as possible so that the connective tissue can let go of the stress. And breathe. Now, when you're ready, we're going to extend those legs all the way to the end of the mat. Reach your arms overhead, stretch out from your fingertips to your toes. If you choose to do this, you might decide to do one side and then the other, maybe both legs. You flex the feet, Wiggle your fingers, a lot of different ways to stretch. But when you feel like you've stretched enough, we're going to ease our hands down next to our hips, palms up. We can make adjustments to our hips, our shoulders, our neck. Give yourself permission to get as comfortable as possible and begin to relax a little bit more deeply. We're coming into final relaxation. It's important that we take the time at the end of the practice to integrate everything we just did. So we take some time, once we're settled, to turn the attention inward. Allow yourself once again to pay attention to your breathing. But we're not going to try to fix it or change it at this point. Just give yourself permission to notice the rhythm of your breath. Maybe the depth. Are we breathing deeply or a bit more shallow? Is it fast or slow? Observe the qualities of the breath without trying to fix it or change it. Allow yourself to notice sounds around you, smells, temperature, textures, those physical distractions, and then also notice the physical sensations in your body. You might notice areas that you feel like you did a little too much. Maybe there's some areas where you don't feel like you did enough. Give yourself permission to do a gentle body scan. Identify those places that need a little bit more gentleness and compassion, but also notice the areas that feel really deeply relaxed. And don't try to fix or change anything. Just observe and notice what you're experiencing. Allow yourself to begin to notice any emotions that are present. Allow yourself to observe your emotions, but don't get caught up in trying to fix them or change them or even evaluate them. We do have preferred emotions. So allow yourself to begin to notice where your emotions are at this point in time. And rather than trying to figure them out, fix them, change them, or even judge yourself for them, give yourself permission just to notice what's present for you. And realize that whatever emotion you're experiencing is not who you are. It's just something that you're noticing. Allow yourself to notice your thoughts. So this one could be practiced all throughout the day, but when you're in stillness, it's a little easier. We want to begin to notice the thoughts that come and go in our mind when we're resting in stillness. And we're not going to judge ourselves for the thoughts. Our thoughts are a product of our brain creating the thoughts based on everything we encounter in our lifetime. And our brain's working 24/7 doing that. So when we're asleep, our brain's creating thoughts. So there's a lot of thoughts to deal with. So when you're in stillness, allow yourself to notice your thoughts. But let go of trying to figure them out right now. Let go of trying to solve whatever it is you're thinking about, or let go of judging yourself for whatever you're thinking about. And instead, allow yourself to observe the thoughts coming and going like they do. This is the process of just being. We're noticing everything we're experiencing, and yet we're not trying to fix or change anything. We're not trying to do anything about what we're noticing. For now, we're going to allow ourselves just to be exactly as we are. Allowing yourself to spend a little time each day, even if you don't go through a physical yoga practice, give yourself permission to take a time out, sit, pay attention to what's coming up for you. But also promise yourself that you don't have to fix or change any of it right now. In fact, you don't have to fix or change any of it ever if you don't want to. But again, we're always doing, fixing, changing. So practice just being for a short amount of time. Notice what's there. Notice the things that frustrate, stress you out. Give yourself permission just to breathe and notice. That's when we begin to realize that we're enough. Practicing observing and just being, that's where it becomes clear that we don't have to fix or change anything. We don't have to solve things in order to be enough. We already are enough. We can go forward from there. Now, when it feels right to you, allow yourself to begin to move again. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Give yourself a little time to slowly stretch. Bring yourself into a more wide awake state of consciousness, not forcing. Instead, allow yourself to come up to a comfortable, easy seated position. You might interlace those fingers loosely, place your palms against the chest with the thumbs pointing up, and maybe even create a little space between the chest and those hands. This is a great one for anger, frustration, or just to protect the heart, this mudra. So take a minute and think about your practice today. Notice what you liked, notice what you didn't like. What was easy, challenging, frustrating. Notice what you actually experienced. I want to thank you all for sharing your practice with me tonight. I honor the place in you, which is of love, of truth, of light, and of peace. From my heart to yours. Namaste.